the other day I posted an informational video. It was like 10 minutes of me talking about guitar and different things. I mentioned capos and I mentioned a couple of things that I do. Anyway, something I wanted to devote some time to, and you may have, I don't know if you, I've flipped the camera so that you don't see the left hand, you see the right hand, because I want to focus on what I'm doing down here in the right hand real quick. I'm trying to not make these very long. Something that I do a lot of, especially with slower songs, is how I arpeggiate the chords in the right hand. Even in slow songs, a lot of times players will they'll still strum, you know. And they kind of have that, what I call kind of a machine gun approach to everything, which is fine. You know, I'm not saying that's not good. I'm saying if you as a player want to develop a bit more sounds and more techniques and more skills, I'm going to show you a couple things that I do that help that a little bit. First of all, I do want to mention that I use these .88 millimeter Dunlop wedge picks. I love these picks. I used the 88 millimeter Tortex picks for ages, and then when they came out with the wedges, I just fell in love with those. And a lot of times, for almost everything I'm doing on the guitar, I'm using the 88, which is the green one. For quieter songs, I will switch to the 1 millimeter. Now these are really heavy guitar picks. I mean, they're vicious heavy. And if you ever see, I'm licking my fingers because they don't slip when you sweat, and I need to get a little bit of moisture because the air's so dry. But so I use really heavy picks anyway, medium heavies. For everything, even all the complex, crazy stuff. And for the first several years of playing this guitar, I broke strings all the time, and eventually your body adapts to the pick and the strength of the strings, and I don't break strings almost at all anymore with this guitar, and I've had this one for 15 years now. But so one of the things that I did when I was very young as a player, one of the things I spent a lot of time doing was I would take like my normal chord shapes, like a C or a G or my D or A or whatever. I took all the basic normal chord shapes and I would just arpeggiate straight up and down. Like for C, and you can go all the way up, and I would try to keep that in time. Going straight down and then up. In the world of heavy metal, they would call this sweep picking, but that's really not what I'm doing per se. Now again, a lot of this has to do with the hand isn't just floating here. My hand isn't just hanging out, because if I'm trying to do that, it's much harder to control if you don't anchor your hand down in some way. And for any kind of slow song, I am almost always, I have my hand on the bridge, on the saddle, right on the pegs or right on the wood part, or I've got my pinky braced down here or something. I'm bracing somewhere. And actually, it ends up being everything. And I'll just arpeggiate the song in the time that the song is in, like Revelation song in D. So there, I already morphed into a different technique where I will pronounce the chord, on the downbeat, and then for the next 3 beats of the measure, I'll just arpeggiate around the chord. earlier in the other video where I talked about bass note strumming. I'll hit the bass note and then the rest of the chord. I do that here too. I'll do the D note for the D chord, and I'll just jump to the next couple strings. So that I'll do the bass note, and then I'll switch all the way down and do the top strings. Or all of it, mix it up. Sometimes I'll straight arpeggiate, or I'll strum it. So you get 4 beats and a measure to work with, and the slower songs are great for this. Especially if you're a player who plays by yourself and you're trying to lead worship by yourself without a drummer and a bass player and a keyboard player and another guitar player. If you're filling up all that space yourself, you can use some dynamics, hit that chord. So that's kind of one side of this, is that kind of just alternating what's going on in your right hand a little bit. Something my wife kind of gets tripped out about when I'm playing, especially when I'm I have the microphone in my face and I'm kind of looking at the music over here and I'm not really looking at what's going on down here. It's basically, what I do is I take that same idea of arpeggiating the chord, alternate thing, which the idea from that really comes from this finger picking thing. So I'm hitting the root note of whatever chord with my thumb, and then this string with the index finger, and then the next string with my thumb, and then the top string with the middle finger. And that's just basic. That's just your basic kind of finger roll, almost a banjo finger roll kind of thing. It's just an alternating thing, and I started doing that with the pick because I like playing with my fingers, but I don't have time to mess with that. It's one of those things. It's like I don't have a whole lot of time to practice, and when I do, I'm not practicing that. So I started adapting, and I did it with a pick instead, which is louder and more dynamic and allows for more space, and I don't have to put the pick down and pick the pick up, or tuck the finger and tuck the pick in my finger, or put it in my mouth, or put it somewhere else. I can just play with it. It's just it's a lot faster than it should be, but so for like medium songs or slow songs, that kind of the one song that I do, the I Want to Know You, the video for that's down below. It's that basic thing. Totally can't see what I'm doing. Wherever the bass note is, I'm hitting that note, and then everything else is just picking around that idea. the guitar. I'm not free floating. I'm locked in. That doesn't move at all for that whole song. So now I'm combining the rhythm stuff that I talked about and the inside-outside picking, just in, out. There's a whole lot of stuff like that that I'm doing in the right hand. Anyway, so I just wanted to talk about the right hand for a bit. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thanks.